Now let us try to learn a very new concept which might not have studied before, known as Hall effect. And this Hall effect was explained by a scientist named Edwin Hall, an American scientist, in the year 1879 to understand the material property. That means, whenever a material, maybe a semiconductor, and it is allowed to pass a certain amount of current, and the entire conductor is kept in the presence of a magnetic field in a direction perpendicular, then you can see a certain amount of field is being created between the other two surfaces, and based on this field we are easily able to find out the characteristic or the properties of the semiconductor. That is, we are able to calculate the charge carrier concentration present in the material, whether the semiconductor belongs to a n-type semiconductor or a p-type semiconductor, all such things that you are able to calculate based on what is called the Hall effect. So let me try to take a conductor. I will try to take a conductor here. It is a three-dimensional conductor where this conductor has got a width. This is the width of the semiconductor. It is the width of the semiconductor. I'll write W. And it has got a thickness that is equal to D, such that this is the cross-sectional area of the given conductor. This is the cross-sectional area of the given conductor. Now you allow the current to pass through all along the x direction. I'll try to pass the current along the x direction. And keep the conductor in a direction such that along the y direction you apply a magnetic field. So what exactly going to happen? So when a conductor is allowed to pass through a given current, that means there are positive charges are moving all along this direction, where the positive charges are experiencing a mechanical force when it is been kept in the presence of a magnetic field. Then according to a scientist named Lorentz, there is a force being created, and that force is called as a Lorentz force being created on each charges in accordance with the Fleming's left hand rule. And what is exactly the Fleming's left hand rule? If you try to stretch your three fingers perpendicular to each other, four fingers shows the direction of the current and middle finger shows the direction of the magnetic field, then all the positive charges will experience a mechanical force in the upward direction. So naturally, being a positive charge moving all along the x direction due to the current, these positive charges will experience a mechanical force in the direction perpendicular to both magnetic field as well as the current, and due to this the positive charges are being accumulated here on the upper surface, and naturally there are equal number of negative charges are being also accumulated here. And due to this accumulation of the positive negative charges in the perpendicular surfaces, there is a field being created between the two terminals, and that field is what is called the Hall field. And this effect or the phenomenon where producing an electric field in a direction perpendicular over a material when it is being subjected to a current and placed in the presence of a magnetic field, this effect is called as the Hall effect. Now, as I very clearly said that Hall effect has got so many advantages where you are easily able to calculate the material property. That is, if it is a semiconductor, so what kind of charge carrier is present, how many number of electrons per unit volume are present, how many number of holes are going to be present, whether this material belong to the n-type semiconductor or a p-type semiconductor, that is what we are able to calculate. Now to find it out, let us try to first find out how much is the Lorentz force is going to act over it. I'll write, in accordance with the Lorentz force, we have learnt whenever a charge E is moving in the presence of a magnetic field B with a velocity V, then the Lorentz force is always given by the equation BeV, but however being negative charge, so I can write FL is equal to minus B into E into V. This is the first equation, and this is called as a Lorentz force. And due to this Lorentz force, these positive charges are deflected all along in the upward direction, and negative charges are being deflected in the downward direction, and it is going to create a certain amount of field. Now, as the next charges come, and when they try to accumulate in the upper side, these positive charges will oppose these positive charges. However, There is one more force which has been created between this, and that force is what we call as a Hall's force, or force due to the Hall field, which is in accordance with the equation E into EH with a negative sign is exactly the force due to the Hall field, and that is called the force Hall force. And this phenomenon continues till this force and this force are going to be equal. When the Lorentz force and the Hall's force are equal, then the accumulation of the charges stops. Therefore, I can write BFL, which is nothing but minus BE into V, should be equal to, it is equal to minus E into EH, where E get cancelled. Therefore, I can easily try to write EH is equal to B into V, is equal to B into V. This is the equation for the electric field created due to the Hall field. Therefore, it is EH is equal to B into V, where B is the magnetic field and V is the velocity. Now, due to this, there is also a potential. We know that the potential between the two terminals, if it is going to be EH divided by D, is going to give you what is called the electric field, because the potential per distance is called as the electric field, which is equal to BV. Therefore, I can write VH is equal to B into V into D. This is called the Hall potential. So, I'll write the next equation. Maybe equation number 3 here and the equation number 4 here. Now, let me try to find out what is the current density. We know current density by definition is equal to current per area. Here, area is nothing but it is a width into thickness. Therefore, I'll write W into D, that is the current density J. But current density J is also equal to NE into V. This is what we have learnt according to the Ohm's law. N is the number of electrons or holes per unit volume of the material, and E is the electronic charge or the whole charge. These two together is nothing but the charge carrier density, rho. Therefore, I can write J is equal to rho V. I'll write this is the equation number 5, and this I'll write the equation number 6. And based on this equation, I can calculate I divided by WD, which is equal to rho into V. Therefore, V is equal to I divided by rho into W into D. V is the velocity with which the charges are moving, is equal to current divided by rho into W into D. Now, come to the equation VH. We know that VH is equal to B into V. V is nothing but I divided by rho into W into D in D, where this D get cancel each other. Therefore, I can write VH is equal to B into I divided by rho into W. The all field is given by the equation BI divided by rho W. This is what the expression for the field. Therefore, if I know what is B, that is the magnetic field, which you know very well, and I, that is a current, and W, and measuring what is VH, I can easily try to calculate what is rho. Rho is equal to BI divided by VH into W. So, by calculating VH and knowing all these values, I can easily try to calculate what is the charge density that is present in a given semiconductor. This is what the advantage of using this equation. However, let us try to see a new coefficient, that is what is called as the Hall coefficient, which is represented as RH. Now, between the two ends of the conductor, the electric field is always directly proportional to the magnetic field, because more and more is the magnetic field, more and more charges are being created, and it also depends on the current density. And to remove this proportionality, I'll use a constant called as a Hall coefficient, that is RH into B into J, that is equal to EH. Therefore, I can easily write RH is equal to EH divided by B into J. But VH is the EH is nothing but VH divided by D into B into J. But what is VH? VH in accordance with this equation, it is equal to B into I, it is equal to B into I divided by rho W VH, and the remaining terms, that is 1 by D into B into J, but J is also nothing but I divided by W into D. Therefore here W get cancelled, D get cancelled, I get cancelled, B get cancelled, therefore it is equal to 1 by rho. Therefore just by knowing the charge carrier density, I can easily try to calculate what is called RH, that is the Hall coefficient. Therefore these phenomena is very significant to calculate what kind of material the semiconductor belongs to, and also we are able to calculate the charge carrier density of the given material. So this is what is the advantage of using the Hall field. Thank you.